Okay, now back where I started. Okay, watch yourself basically. You can't now that you know basically the basic forms of delusion, you can now learn. You just gotta learn to catch yourself in your situation if you're in a confirmation, if you're in a hindsight, or if you're in a self-serving bias situation. You just gotta learn if you whenever if you're in a situation and see the and just catch yourself and not so basically if you're a confirming bias, basically spread out your beliefs. Basically, don't just stick to what you know, spread it out. Don't, because you never know. You might just surprise yourself about information you get. Now, in hindsight, you can't mess with dice. Basically, if the dice rolls, it's gonna roll. You're not gonna be able to predict that outcome. So you're just gonna have to just accept that. You can't. I mean, unless you rig the dice, though. But I mean, that's besides the point, though. You okay? So self-serving bias. If things go our way, we can. It's good to acknowledge our strength. But we should also um, acknowledge our mistakes too when things do not pan out in our favor. And don't blame it on luck. Don't blame it on anyone else. Just blame it, or the blame's on you. Basically, take it as a learning experience and just you know. Okay, so now convincing others. This is a tricky part, basically, because at this point, the person you talk to is probably not a kid. He is an adult. He has his beliefs formed. It's set. It's there. It's not going to change, basically. So you're going to have to basically edge the fact forward without having to trigger a defensive mechanism. So basically, if you realize that, um, okay, let's say a marriage, basically, and a wife is getting beaten by her husband. You want to really try convince the wife that maybe this is not okay for your husband to do this, and because she's in denial, she's in delusion. But don't come out flat forward saying that your wife's, beating you. You gotta divorce him. You gotta get rid of him. You need to find a lawyer. No, this will likely trigger a defensive mechanism. You don't want that. So instead, basically slowly nudge flags forward through, maybe suggesting, hey, I don't think your husband should be treating you like this. Maybe you should, go seek help or talk to you. Or, I don't know, do something basically. Okay, another way basically is to let people in like leadership position to persuade rather than having you persuade. Like let's say an outsider, like let's just say like a church basically, and telling information to his people. Like what they call it, a gospel? No. Okay, I'm just called okay. The church leader. The church leader basically he can present the facts basically rather than you. You can I mean it's overall people like I said, it's their beliefs. They're gonna in their religion, they're not gonna change. They believe in whatever they want. But if it comes from a person they know or someone that they respect or recognize, they might have a better chance of actually accepting the facts. So basically, it gives the facts a chance to, get out there. Basically, so it gives the facts a chance. And yeah, and what other thing? So basically, and then yeah, the end. So keep in mind, the human mind delusions, they're not necessarily a bad thing. They're actually partially a good thing. They are a survival mechanism. It's something our ancestors did because the world, it was crazy back then. We didn't have technology. We had sticks and stones, and it was hard. So these positive illusions, they're not a bad thing. It's good to be unique. It's good to believe in ourselves and to good to believe in hope, even if it's, bad. But okay, so their tools are answers are built to survive in a harsh world. It bypasses now bypassing our predicting belief is difficult and unfavorable to us because doing so, like I said, it just basically it's too taxing. It's just our brains can't handle it. It just takes too much for us to just really, switch our brains around to really accept the realistic approach. I mean, if you have to constantly think everything to do before